I'm an accountant with a family, and today I'm showing you exactly how I budget my money the moment it hits my account on payday. I use an easy 4-step system that helps me take full control of my finances and visually check if I'm balancing different areas of my life well. Over the years, I tried many fancy budgeting methods, and after all my trial and error, I can tell you that no matter what your situation or what your income level, the best budgeting method is the one that's simple and easy enough for you to keep using. I've now created a custom tracker that works really well for a Desi family's lifestyle like mine, and I'm gonna walk you through it in detail so you can see how this can help you become more mindful about your spending too, and how it can actually help you progress towards your financial goals without getting overwhelmed. So step 1 is to set your budget targets. Here's the tracker I created, and this is the part where I set my budget targets. You can download my exact spreadsheet from the link in my description box below. All you have to then do is just plug your numbers in, or you can literally watch this whole video and recreate it yourself in Google Sheets or Excel. Now, my system is based on the famous 50-20-30 budget concept, which says that one should spend 50% of their income on needs, 20% on savings, and 30% on wants and fun. But 50-20-30 is not very realistic for families. Plus, as a South Asian, I like to add another category that's called giving back. So basically, this is to capture any charity that we give or any amounts that we might regularly give to our extended family for support. Actually, I think at the end of this video, I'm going to show you how this spreadsheet will help you check if you're being fair to your kids, your spouse, your parents and community, and most importantly, to yourself. I recommend allocating 65% of your income to needs, 20% to savings, 10% to wants, and 5% to giving back. I'll show you exactly how you can adjust these targets too, but if you do, the only thing I'll ask is to please try to stick with at least 20% for savings, which brings me to the next step, which is to think about your saving goals. I created a little notepad-like section here just to brain dump everything that I would like to save for. I like to split it by short-term and long-term because that affects how I prioritize my savings. If you download my template, you'll see that I've pre-filled in emergency fund under short-term and retirement fund under long-term, and that's because if you use my template, those are two things that I don't want you to forget about. One of my subscribers, Sarah, has very kindly shared her family's income and expenses with me for this budget video. She also told me about her saving goals, so I'm just gonna go ahead and add those in. She wants to buy a car next year, wants to be able to go on a vacation next year, she wants to do Umrah in 2 years, and she wants to start saving for her kids' education. Longer term, she wants to go to Hajj and save for a bigger house. So for now, I just plotted everything in the right spot, and we're gonna come back to these in the next step, which is managing and tracking your cash. So this is where the whole number game happens. I'm gonna go to one of the monthly tabs and start right up here in the top left section. I'm gonna enter all of Sarah's and her husband's income that they have coming into their bank accounts, and they get some child benefit from the government, so I'm gonna add that. If you download my spreadsheet, you'll see that I made it very clear that you're supposed to use after-tax cash amounts here. If you have a job, your cash inflow is already gonna be after tax, but if you're self-employed, you're gonna set aside the tax portion and enter the amount that's actually yours to work with. I'm also adding $250 for Sarah's pension and $300 for Hamza's pension. These are amounts that they already contributed to their company's pension plan, right? So they didn't get this amount in their paycheck, but I'm making an exception to this cash rule and bringing those amounts in here, and we're gonna see in a minute why. I did tweak a couple of numbers just so we have an easy $10,000 to work with for this video. Once you've got your total, you'll see that the spreadsheet calculates for you your budget amounts. So it's picking up the 65, 20, the 10, and 5, and it's telling you that you can allocate $6,500 to needs, $2,000 to savings, $1,000 to wants, and $500 to giving back. Now, let's move down into the needs section. I'm gonna list all of Sarah's family needs that she told me about, everything basic that they must pay for every single month. So under fixed expenses, all the recurring monthly amounts like rent, car expenses, insurance, cell phone bills. Under variable expenses, we're gonna list items that tend to change month to month, like groceries and utilities. Some things are harder to get a monthly amount for. For example, maybe your water bill comes every 3 months, right? For stuff like that, just go to your banking app maybe and try and get an average. There's also stuff like property tax installments that can be quarterly, but you wanna make sure you don't forget about them. Also, going to a restaurant and dining out is different, but what you spend on takeout belongs in this section too, because takeout is kind of like an alternative for cooking and groceries, right? I'm also gonna add another line in here called miscellaneous expenses. I know that with a family, there's no shortage of stuff like that, you know, snow boots and school trips and haircuts. So for this family of 4, I'm gonna add about $400 just to give them room for that stuff. Overall, it looks like we spent $5,920 for needs and we have $580 left. Let's park that leftover amount for now and move into goals. So this is the most important part of the spreadsheet, okay? Everybody spends on needs and wants, but not everybody saves. So how disciplined you are about this little section will make all the difference. We know that Sarah and Hamza are saving for retirement through their work plans. We're gonna add those numbers back in here under the long-term section. Now, as far as this spreadsheet is concerned, it's basically a cash in, cash out situation, but placing that amount in the right section helps you see that, hey, you are actually saving for your old age beyond just the regular government pension. It's out of sight because it's happening with your employer, but it's happening. So give yourself some credit for that. Sarah also told me that she has $800 left to complete her full emergency fund. So that is the first thing that we're gonna add on the short-term side. If you don't know how to calculate what your emergency fund amount is, then within my spreadsheet, there's a tab called Savings Tracker. When you download it, you can go there first and figure out your emergency amount and then see how much you have for that and how much you need to save. So now we have $650 remaining for goals. We're gonna bring in all of the other goals from that earlier tab and type them in here. I'll split that $650 between the car and Umrah trip. Next month, when she doesn't have to save for her emergency fund anymore, that's when she can put more cash towards these other goals. So how does this actually work? Well, these amounts need to literally move from checking accounts. You can open multiple savings accounts and make transfers into them. When those accounts fill up, it's honestly so motivating to see that. And you know, you can actually rename those accounts in your online banking. So personally, I've renamed accounts and called them emergency fund, home repairs fund, Hajj fund, vacation fund, and so forth. And for some of them, I've actually set up automatic transfers. Let's move into wants. So we have $1,000 to spend there. And I like to split this section by current and planned in the next year. So here, I'm gonna list everything that Sarah told me her family does for fun. Netflix, movies, manicures, restaurants, everything that's nice to have but not necessary goes in here, okay? So that's $915 worth right there. Now, I didn't forget about her vacation. We're gonna add that into the other part here because it's planned within a year. And we're gonna add the remaining $85 to that. Gotta start saving somewhere, right? Again, you can open a savings account and call it vacation fund and just transfer the money out of your checking account into there. So I love how this whole method actually gives you permission to spend for fun and enjoy life too without second guessing yourself. All right, then comes the giving back category. This is where you track charity and family support. Sarah said they're giving about $250 to a local charity every month through automated transfers. So we're gonna add that in. And then she and Hamza also send $250 to Hamza's parents back home. So we're gonna add that in the giving back section, and that's the 5% allocated fully. Now at this point, we fully allocated the spending under each category. We've allocated money to savings. We have an extra $580 left in needs. Now when I asked Sarah about how she'd like to spend that, she said that she'd like to put that towards her vacation anniversary because it's something coming up soon and it's a little time sensitive with it being a 10-year anniversary. So not a problem, we're gonna add that in there. After doing that though, you can see how that category has gone over and it's gone to red. But that's okay because looking at this table here, we know that we're actually balanced with $0 remaining at the end. Now based on this, Sarah and Hamza could say, hey, maybe we don't need to do 65% for needs. Maybe we can do 60% towards our needs and adjust that extra 5% to something else. They could put that into wants, they could put that into savings, they could put that into giving back. It all depends on their preferences. As far as I'm concerned, as long as they put 20% into savings, I don't care where else they put that 5%. So as you can see, it's not about being super calculated. It's more about just being mindful and intentional with all your money, which brings me to my next step, which is probably the most important. Step 4, to recap and reflect. Basically, you're looking for a good balance in life, okay? You don't want to have this YOLO attitude and then be so focused on having fun that one day you go, oh my gosh, I never saved up for bad times. You also don't want to be saving too much and missing out on having fun in the moment, like saying no to your kids' school trips or not making memories as a family. Review your saving goals. Maybe you realize that you are not saving for your retirement at all, which is kind of worrying because really you have to wonder, will the government pension one day be enough for me and my lifestyle? Will my Gen Alpha kids help me when I'm 75? I don't know, maybe best not to count on that. Look at your giving back category. Are you giving away nothing at all? Maybe you realize you've been giving away too much and that's why your own kids' needs are not being met. Remember how I said this will help you check if you're being fair? Maybe you see that even after covering your needs and goals and wants, you could very comfortably and easily be giving charity and supporting your aging parents because, you know, those things bring you prayers and unexpected blessings into your life. Those are intangibles that we can't account for on a spreadsheet, right? Look at your needs. It's normally very hard to reduce expenses in this area, but maybe you can shop around for better insurance. You could skip the premium haircuts, try getting less takeout. And sometimes what happens is that seeing the needs section and the expenses, you might be like, oh my gosh, there's honestly nothing here to cut. Oh, I've been pressuring my spouse for no reason. Like, we need to figure out how to make more money because just the basic expenses are so high. If you download my money tracker and plug in your numbers, it will already give you so much clarity on how you're doing. And if you do it monthly, then you'll soon see that you start to make progress towards your goals. I've also added in a year in review tab, and once you've completed all 12 months, it'll show you how you spent and saved. If something looks off, you can go into that month and look into the details, right? Maybe you realize that your spending really jumps up during the summer or during Ramadan. I don't know. You gotta plan better for that next year. So it's a tool that helps you make the right decisions. If you do use my tracker, please let me know how you liked it. Were there any realizations? Were there any light bulb moments? Make sure you're subscribed to my channel because I've got so many more videos coming up. I'm super excited to share them with you guys. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye!